Welcome back to One Sober to Another. I'm Wayne. I am an alcoholic of 23 years and I've been living sober for 6 years. I've started this channel in order to provide you with information about my experience and strength and hope that could possibly give you a little bit of insight to how I live in sobriety and how it might be able to help you. If that interests you, consider subscribing to the channel. Today's video brought to you by Tim G. He's one of my good friends, and he gave me the idea of doing this video because it's a question that's been on his mind. How do you start a relationship when you're new in sobriety? How do you tell your partner that you engage in a 12-step program or that you're in recovery? How do you not bring old baggage into the relationship that you have now from the past that you had when you were an active alcoholic or addict? If this interests you, let's go. So number one, starting a new relationship in recovery. If you're early in sobriety, it might just be too soon because there's a lot of work that we as alcoholics and addicts have to do in order to build our sobriety and be able to engage and start to thrive and grow in our recovery before we can be helpful or useful or even empathetic and love another person. Really, being able to judge how soon it is for you to engage in a relationship might be how long were you an active alcoholic or addict and how much work do you have to do in order to be able to take care of yourself versus being with another person, because that's a lot of stuff that you'll have to deal with and have to go through, and the changes of having another personality there might not be the best for you just yet. However, each person is different and your recovery is a little bit different. Therefore, if you are going to start a new relationship, be sure to protect yourself first and your sobriety first. For me, I was going into an old relationship with my wife and I had to learn new ways in order to deal with some of the things that our relationship brings. She's a German, I'm an American. She's from Germany, I'm from America. So therefore, we have a lot of different takes on what we see as our way of life and what makes us whole, and our values and beliefs are a little bit different. In my recovery, I have to be able to deal with those challenges that come along with her personality and my personality instead of running from them in the bottle of a bottle like I used to. If you can relate to that, drop your comments below because someone else is going to benefit from how you started a relationship in your sobriety. Next, taking old baggage into a relationship is one of the pitfalls of every human being, really, if you think about it, because that first relationship that you had pretty much determines the rest of the relationships and how they're going to turn out, depending on how that relationship turned out. Something like that, yes it is. When I got married, I was carrying all these things from the past of my expectations of how a woman should act, how a man should act, and what our relationship was going to be like, and that was that. I was carrying a bunch of failed relationships, as well as my mother was abused and we had to watch it as children growing up. So that's the behavior that I learned that a man was supposed to have with a woman. What I found in my relationships is that I wasn't so much abusing them, but I was putting those same expectations on the women in my life that my father put on my mother. And that sounds a little Freudian, but that's exactly how that works. Again, if you relate to that, drop your comment below because someone else is watching who needs to hear what you have to say. When I got into recovery and when I got into learning how to live with myself and how to develop and how to be empathetic and compassionate, I was learning new ways to behave in my relationship. And when you bring old baggage in, you tend to compare that relationship to the old relationship, and that's not fair to the person that you're with. Don't bring that old baggage with you. You have to let go of that past. Now, don't ignore that past because our alcoholism and our addiction was a huge part of our life. And for us to be able to move on and beyond that, we have to learn how to be healthy in the relationship that we have now and not bring that in. Last, and this one I'll try to make swift, But who knows? I'm a long-winded person and I'm sure you don't want to watch. However, stay tuned. Being in a 12-step program, if you are in Alcoholics Anonymous or in Narcotics Anonymous or Al-Anon or whatever that case is, that might be hard for you to explain to another person. Now, you don't have to. That's the beauty of it, because AA and NA and all those kinds of programs mostly end with Anonymous. The reason is because the whole world doesn't need to know what you're doing, and the whole world doesn't need to know that you are an alcoholic or an addict. What did I do and what do I do? Well, I used to make up excuses of where I was going for an hour out of my life, and that wasn't very healthy either. So what I started to do is slowly bring in topics and discussions on recovery and sobriety and how I am moving in my sobriety and what is giving me strength each day. Slowly I worked into that, because I owe it to my spouse, but we owe it to our partners to be able to tell them things honestly and out loud, because that's the way that a healthy relationship is built. So what I ended up doing is I told my spouse, I said, look, I go to Alcoholics Anonymous. Now, she wasn't shocked because she tried to force me into it a long time ago, but it didn't take it in the beginning. So I told her, I'm going to go to meetings from this time to this time, and it helps me to be able to build in my life and to be able to become more mature and be able to be a better person for you and for our family. Therefore, no problem, no issue. Now, to each his own. It might be too early for you, and I understand that, and so does the person next to you. But eventually, I think that you should do it together if you intend on staying together, because that is ultimately going to make you guys stronger, and it will help you stay sober because you don't have to hide anything. If this video has been helpful and you've enjoyed the content, drop a like down below so this video stays in circulation. Tim G, thank you for the idea and the questions, and I hope this answered them. And if it hasn't, please let me know. I'll try to do better next time. Life is a garden, folks. Dig it, and guess what? I'm gonna see you in the next one. Have a good day. Bye-bye.